Hey guys, it's Upa here. So they have literally just sent out the details for the limited time hero, and you can see over here. So we have limited time hero Felicia with the Nameless Brotherhood faction, attack type, and red mark. And you can see her art over here. So there has been some discussion in the community. People don't really like these provocatively dressed characters, and some people just want a male character or characters which are dressed more conservatively. And personally, I'm quite indifferent to this sort of thing. I don't really care how the characters look. I'm more interested in their skills and whether they are interesting or whether they are strong. But I do understand where many players are coming from. I don't want to talk too much about this, but I'll just say that the developers do occasionally send out surveys regarding different aspects of the game, and I have done one of the surveys which was for character design, I believe. And so in the future, when they do release surveys on that, make sure your opinion is heard. And I also just want to mention that the developers are already aware about the sentiments of people's feelings towards this sort of character design, and I don't know how that will affect future character designs, but all I can say is they know what the community is thinking. So anyway, let's take a look at the animations over here. Pretty cool, very similar to Lydia in the sense that she rides on this wave. I think it's pretty cool. She has like a pull sword over here, a pull sword that is used as her weapon. Pretty nice animation. This is her attack animations. So that was basic attack thing. I would imagine this is the skill 2, AoE it seems. This is probably the skill 4, looks really powerful. And I actually do like all these animations. And now, of course, most importantly, we have the skills. So let's open this in a new tab so that you guys can see it more clearly. And let's zoom in. I think the quality isn't too clear, so hopefully you guys can still see it in the video. But there isn't really much I can do. I mean, I already opened it to the max resolution. But yeah, let's get right into it. So once again, Felicia, Nameless Brotherhood, attack, red mark. And let's see. So internal injury character, it seems. Green Waves deals 280% attack internal injury damage to a single enemy and steals 30% turn meter for them. Okay. Very straightforward, very basic. 30% turn meter is a very big deal. Reminds me of both Kalana and Space. So let's take a quick look over here. So Kalana has, I believe it was 20% or 10% only, which increases up to 18% at max level. And then we have Space, who has, 25% and with exclusive 1, 35%. So 30%, very, very nice. And this is not just turn meter reduction, but steals 30% turn meter, so very strong. Special 2, and is deals 320% attack internal injury damage to all enemies. Afterwards, inflicts dehydration, reduces damage dealt by 15% up to 2 layers, so up to 30% on all enemies for 3 turns. Okay, very strong. Once again, so far she seems kind of more like a supporting character in the sense that she does turn meter reduction and this damage reduction. And one thing I like that I've seen so far, of course I'm looking at these skills live with you guys, so bear with me if it's a bit slow and I'll take some time to understand or take in what everything does. But one thing I've just noticed just by looking at this is all the text is really short. And I think this is a good thing because it makes it easier to understand what these characters' kids do. And when we looked at the older or more recent characters, some of their text is all really, really long and complicated. So I like that so far at least it's keeping everything short. So next we have passive, and the internal injury damage dealt by self is calculated based on crit rate, crit damage, and direct damage bonus, instead of being calculated based on mastery and internal injury bonus. And if she has the highest initial crit rate and initial crit damage amongst all allies, gain moisture will not be controlled. Okay, interesting. So you need to have both highest crit rate and crit damage, which is going to be quite tricky because currently everyone has all their best gear on Marie, understandably so. And if this character ends up being used on the same team as Marie, then you will have to do some rebalancing amongst your gear to ensure that Felicia is the one with better crit rate and crit damage, and that might come at the expense of your Marie's damage as well. But this moisture will not be controlled, of course, very strong, prevents yourself from being CC'd, which is nice. Next, each time after casting a skill, gain surging waves, increase attack by 2% and crit damage by 10% up to 20 layers. 20 layers is insane for this skill. That's an additional 200% crit damage and an additional 40% attack. So the attack increase is kind of low, but the crit damage increase is insane. For 200% increase, that's going to be some insane damage. Can already start seeing why she's a tech class. And lastly, for a special 4, deals 320% internal injury damage to all enemies. Afterwards, inflicts Shriveled Sea, reduces basic attack and skill damage dealt by 15% up to 2 layers. So this stacks on top of this dehydration on all enemies for 3 turns. So enemies are gonna do so little damage. I can already envision a team. Of course, it might not be the meta team used at the end, but if imagine you have like a Murung Jing, which reduces your damage taken. You have a Giselle, which inflicts the attack down 2 and cold 2, and then you have all these effects as well. The enemy is not going to deal any damage to you. And now the exclusives. Of course, this is going to be probably the make or break for this character. So let's get right into it. Exclusive 1. Dehydration, which is this effect over here. Inflicted by rough water, so yeah, by that skill. Additionally, reduces damage dealt by another 15%, so even less damage taken. So this is now 30% and up to layers, so reduces damage by 60%. Insane. Cleanses 3 layers of attribute debuffs from all allies. Okay, nice to have. After all enemies attack for at least 1 turn, Felicia will counter attack using her special 2. Okay. At the beginning of each wave, inflict Falling Tides. Reduces defense to 1 point on the enemy with the highest initial defense for 4 turns. Okay, this is interesting. I'll say my thoughts on this after reading the rest of the skill. If the enemy is not a boss, when they remove buffs from allies, so basically when the thing we read earlier, the cleanses 3 layers of attribute buffs, so basically when this happens, I guess, inflicts Falling Tides on them for 4 turns. So Falling Tides is, once again, just this, reduces defense to 1 point. So in PvP, I feel like this isn't that insane, and the reason I say that is because we have characters like Marie, which I do believe already have really high piercing rate. So I think piercing rate ignores defense, or maybe it's tenacity. I think it ignores tenacity, so I guess reduced defense would be really strong. And yeah, this would be really good to get past Marie teams. And let's keep going. Exclusive 2. So exclusive 1 just looks really strong in general, kind of a supporting exclusive in terms of what it does. The only attack part is basically this pursue and attack. And now exclusive 2, Shriveled Sea inflicted by Roaring Sea. So this skill and this reducing basic attack damage and skill damage dealt. Additionally reduces basic attack damage and skill damage by an additional 15%. So this will be 30% up to 2 layers, which will be 60%. Meanwhile, cleanses 5 layers of damage over time debuffs from all allies. So she has both cleansing attribute debuffs and DOT debuffs, and I believe somewhere above we also saw cleanses control effects over here, or just cannot be controlled. After all allies attack for at least 1 turn, Felicia will pursue an attack using her special 4. So she has a pursue and attack on both special 2 and special 4, really, really strong. Each time an enemy gains 3 layers of stealth in total. This is such a random thing, it's based on the enemy. And I think this is going to counter Murong Jing, who grants stealth, but let's see. Felicia will cast Rough Waters and Roaring Sea 1 more time immediately. So just a whole bunch of pursue and attack with her special 2 and 4 skills. So every time your team takes 1 turn, okay, so this is actually enemy. So every time your enemies take 1 turn, she'll cast her special 2. And every time your allies take 1 turn, she'll cast her special 4. And if, I guess the main case for this is Murong Jing, I think. I'm not sure if some of the newer heroes grant stealth as well, but any instance where the enemy gains stealth, she will pursue an attack using both special 2 and special 4. Really strong, and this is also going to do a lot of damage. Next, Felicia is immune to attack down 1 and 2, so I think this is a counter to Giselle. I believe Giselle is attack down 2 and cold 2 or wet 2, something like that. So attack down 2 and cold 2. So yeah, counters Giselle, and this is really good because this really affects her damage. And when other allies deal damage to enemies by casting skills proactively, Felicia deals 100% attack internal injury damage that ignores shield. Okay, very, very nice. If the target is a boss, deals 500% instead, insane boss killing potential. Each time this damage is triggered, restores all allies' HP by 100% of her attack, and this effect is not affected by healing effect or heal effect, okay? Increases the damage to 900% of the original, the 20th time this damage is triggered. So I think this 900% is regardless of if it's a boss or not, and this is going to be really insane because it's just anytime your allies deal damage to enemies. So all your team needs to do is just use skills, and eventually this damage will ramp up to such an insane amount, and it will happen every time your ally uses a damaging skill. So this is going to be some insane damage. Yeah, in terms of like a limited time hero and the amount of words and content, she's actually a pretty straightforward character, and I don't believe that even though her damage is calculated based on crit rate and crit damage and direct damage bonus, I don't believe the damage itself can crit. So this is a bit strange to me because how does the crit rate matter in this case then? If assuming that the damage over time cannot crit, then crit rate to me doesn't seem I don't understand how the internal injury damage dealt scales of the crit rate. If its crit damage is very straightforward, maybe 200% crit damage means she does 200% of this internal injury damage. Same with this direct damage bonus, but for crit rate I'm not so sure. And they didn't really specify whether the internal injury damage itself can be crit or not. And if she can, then I actually made a pretty good prediction. Yesterday we were talking about it, so let me just search actually and show you guys. I actually did do a prediction. Let's see. Yeah, maybe new limited time hero can crit, can get past Marie. So yeah, if it can crit, then somehow I've managed to predict this, and that'll be really good against Marie teams. So yeah, a pretty straightforward kit, but just because it's somewhat simple, of course you shouldn't be underrating it at all. With all this crit damage scaling and this damage which ramps up over time, as well as the damage here which ramps up over time, and all the different pursue and attacks she has, there's no doubt in my mind she's going to be an insane damage dealer. Whether she outclasses Marie in terms of damage dealing, it's hard to tell this early on, because at the end of the day we only have the numbers and we always need to put things into practice to be able to properly tell. But obviously, since this is the newest hero that we have, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this character is able to beat Marie in terms of damage, especially because of these crit related scalings. So yeah, a lot of potential. Without a doubt she'll be used in PvE for internal injury teams and wherever you can put her, and also definitely in my mind will be used in PvP with all the debuffs that she does, all the immunities and cleanses that she does, and this I think is going to be the best part of her kit. Obviously it's an exclusive tree. This increased damage to 900% is going to just simply nuke your team alongside the defense down. So yeah, really looking forward to this character. Lots of potential, definitely going to be broken, and can't wait for Friday where we get to summon for her. So I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.